Here, and I wanted to do a quick live stream because our focus on in our practice right now is really heavy education on sensory processing disorder. And I wanted to talk about this because this is something that is such a prevalent issue these days that many moms and dads are struggling to find resources on how to help. And I wanted to spend some time talking to you about the issue, about why it's so prevalent, where it comes from, and then how we can find ways to go and help to improve a child's quality of life. But I want to start first with telling you a quick story because I just had a great conversation with a mom of a little boy who's brand new in practice. He's only been with us for about a month, and when we designed his care plan, we had a number of different stressors, different things that we had to talk through. This young man has been dealing with significant issues with stress, anxiety, and meltdowns that are happening on a daily basis. Mom and dad said they quite literally walk on eggshells with him. They said it specifically happens if he doesn't get his way and can last from 10 to 30 minutes on average. Moms, if this is you, drop a comment into the chat wherever you're at to let me know that this is what you're going through. They said that he would have lots of issues with verbal aggression, lots of stress with transitions, significant anxiety, especially as it relates to things like his computer. His friends create stress, insects, not doing well in school, getting in trouble, chores, reading and doing homework. I mean, there's so many things. Getting stuck on things, just perseverating. He won't be able to go and turn the page on simple things like he'll sing the same songs over and over again. He has issues with sensory processing, lots of issues with food, sensory overload. Things like he can go to a birthday party, but he can only hang out with his friends for like 10 minutes, and then he will literally need to go and calm himself down. Mom said that he is on overdrive, a million miles an hour, 24/7. If he is awake, he is moving. And we've seen evidence of that. He's constantly in overdrive, constantly stimming and really struggling. So let me give you a little bit of background because I think it's important you have a context to this. So this is a little dude who had a pretty heavy intervention delivery. There was epidural with Pitocin, got stuck, had a lot of difficulty, required a lot of force and traction on his upper cervical spine. That led to a birth injury. That birth injury then, equivalent to like when we get a whiplash, it caused strain and trauma to his upper neck. And what that did is it created a sequence of events that put his nervous system into a high level of fight or flight. The nervous system got stuck there. There was nothing that broke the cycle. His nervous system continued to be affected by the ongoing background stress, and his nervous system became more and more and more hyperreactive. Mom started to see very early on there were signs of things like he was inconsolable as a baby. He had a lot of issues with, even as a baby, he had constipation. He would have trouble calming himself down, wasn't easy to soothe. Mom said that he always required motion. As he became a toddler, it continued to evolve. They started to see signs like he may be on the spectrum. And as those signs continue to evolve, the other issues, the symptoms, the temperament and the aggression, the verbal aggression, stress behaviors, perseveration, all continue to snowball until we get to a point now where, he's approaching 10. This is a little dude who's got a lot of things that have built up into his nervous system that mom has tried everything. She's tried meds. She's tried a number of different strategies from occupational therapy and whatnot to try and help him. And all of the things have had pretty limited results so far. So she saw a video on here, like many of you are watching right now, and she saw that there was some things that intrigued her because it was different. We're talking about the vagus nerve and using the vagus nerve to calm the brain down. And we're talking about how adjusting can change the brain and how we use these combos of things, adjustments and brain lasers and brain tap and Apollo neural bracelets. And we put these things together and they had these really profound effects on a kid's brain when they were used effectively. So she reached out. She met us at an event and she said, I feel like this is something I need to look into. So we decided that we were going to do a full history and consult with this little guy, broke down everything, talked about his symptoms, set up some significant goals for him. And it's a big goal, a lot of things to break through. And we also went through and had him come in, do the exam and scans. The neuroscans allowed us to see what this poor little guy was going through. Nervous system had a ton going on. His heart rate variability, which compares his autonomic responses, vagal tone to sympathetic tone, the single most important marker of brain developmental function in kids, really stressed out, like big time imbalances in vagal tone to sympathetic tone that we had to address. A lot of activity on his other scans. Sorry about that, guys. lots of imbalances, lots of signs and patterns of stress in the background. His nervous system really was stuck in an ongoing fight or flight state. So when we put his care plan together, we put it into a context that it was going to require a lot of adjusting over a pretty reasonable period of time. We're talking like 6 months of care for this little guy, right? And he was going to have laser therapy done 2 times per week, having a total of 18, so about 9 weeks worth of laser. And at home, he was going to be doing brain laser, or excuse me, he's going to be doing Apollo neuro bracelet daily, which is this dude. And if you've never seen an Apollo neuro bracelet, drop a comment in there. I can go in and explain as much as you want about that. And then Brain Tap. And Brain Tap is a really cool tool. It's an app that you use on your phone, headphones. There are some people who go as far as getting the entire headset. Not necessary, but can be very beneficial if it's something that you feel like you want to try and use that. So just had a conversation with his mom not that long ago about how he's progressing, a month into care. And mom said that they've already seen some really massive changes. In particular, she said that he has not had any major meltdowns in quite some time. Once we started care, they began to taper off very, very quickly. And she said that he's been much easier to deal with, much calmer. He's not really had any meltdowns in the last few weeks, which is huge because that was a common occurrence where he was having them quite literally all the time. And now he's at a place where he's already starting to show his nervous system is that much calmer where he's not having the meltdowns. And we're a month and change into his care plan. So anxiety is already doing a little bit better. We have obviously expectations that we want to try and get him to a place where anxiety is not part of the equation. But early on, right, every little bit of gain that we make is a positive. She said that he is, doing really well with focus and attention. Energy levels are already a little bit down from where they've been. From a kid who was always on the go, he's already started to show some major improvements. So from a quality of life perspective, he's already making changes. His brain and his nervous system are starting to show signs of improvement. The way that we're doing this with the adjustments is the adjustments are this really interesting way to get into the brain, because what's happening is in the background, his brain is getting this constant dose of this stuff called nociception. Nociception is a fancy word for background noise, but background noise that triggers a cascade of events. That's stress. It is sensory disorganization. And in adults, right, in some kids, it can lead to pain. And the counterpart to that is proprioceptive input, which is calming, organizing, and it activates the parasympathetic nervous system and inhibits pain. So we want more proprioceptive input. We don't want nociceptive input because nociceptive input creates that background noise and stress to the nervous system. When this little guy started getting doses of proprioceptive input, all of a sudden his nervous system had this great response. He started to calm down. Mom started noticing these changes. Now, we need this thing called neuroplasticity to really take hold, which is why everything we're doing is built with time added in, time and frequency. So we have reps. His nervous system is beginning the process of refiring and rewiring itself so that his parasympathetic vagal system, the calming side of the nervous system, is getting stronger. His sympathetic fight or flight side is being pushed back down towards a more normal level. We need a sympathetic system. It's important, but we don't need it so that it's the driver of the nervous system. We want to have this really good balance where the vagal tone is high at all times. We've got a good autonomic response and a sympathetic system that can turn on when we need it to, but it's not running the show. So this little dude is already showing that his nervous system is recalibrating and rebalancing. Now, when we do his scans, we expect that we're going to see that all of those markers are beginning to improve. Better vagal tone on his heart rate variability. We want to see that his thermal scans are improving, which help us to go and see the output from his brain to his spinal cord. And then the input scans called an EMG, which measure that proprioceptive input to his brain. And we want to see that getting better. All of them were off. All of them had big imbalances. So as we track them and we see the trends on them, we expect to see that each one of those are moving in the right direction. That's why we pair his subjective, which is how his behaviors are and the symptoms are, compared to his objective findings. So we can look at these things and say, are we getting to a point where we're not just subjectively better, but neurologically has the nervous system calmed down, refired, rewired, stabilized, so that we can say that it's time to start stepping him down in his level of care because he can handle it. And that's really the ultimate thing, is you have to be in a place where when we step you down in level of care, it's because the brain is rewired and can make those changes successfully in the level of care without going backwards. So this is going to be the plan for this guy, is we're going to keep him at the right level of care for a while. And he's, like I said, in the beginning, he's got 6 months at 3 times a week so that we can get his nervous system to calm down. Because when you've got a kid who is on the spectrum with the longevity of symptoms he's had, they need a higher level of care for a longer period of time. It's just the way the brain works. The lower the symptom set, like if you have a child that's struggling with focus and attention issues, does not often require as much care. But the most important thing is we got to find the right dosage over the right period of time to give the brain what it needs to transition to a state of calm and ongoing progress. And then we can put in a diminishing level of stimulation, which is the adjustments or laser or other things, until we get to a place where the brain is nice and calm and balanced and needs minimal dosages of each of those things. Hopefully that makes sense. So this is really kind of the game plan. But I wanted to share this with you because this is a guy who came in with a big symptom list, and they're already seeing some big changes at home with his family life and school and quality of life for him and his family in general. So if you guys have questions about this, please do me a favor and drop them in the comments. Happy to answer and respond to any of these. If this is valuable and you find this content useful, do me a favor. I would love to get a like. I would love to get a comment. Share this with somebody that you love, because the whole goal of telling these stories to you moms and dads is to help other parents to find resources for your children, because I'm sharing other family stories with you so that you can find other ways to go and help your own kids or kids that you care about. God bless you.